Yo, coming to you live once again from Titletown, USA. It is the third month of the new year, and the Eagles are still world champions, going on for 3 weeks. But it's not about the Eagles tonight. I'm your host with the most, Colin Watson, and tonight we are discussing the NCAA FBI investigation. Go ahead and reintroduce. I'm rocking out with Matt, hold up. And Matt should be in shortly, and so should Teroy. But go ahead and reintroduce yourself, Dre. I'm sorry.
What up? What up? What up? It's Dre Terry here. Yeah, excited to always talk about sports and see what's going on in the sports world and just see what my man Colin's talking about. See if we can come together and agree and disagree because it's good when we disagree too because we can see different points of views. But yeah, I'm excited, man. Let's do it.
All right, man. Yeah. It's definitely good to rock out with you. Excuse that in the background. Um, so start this. Let's start this. So, Dre, will this FBI investigation into the NCAA, will this FBI investigation change your perspective on the NCAA? Go ahead, Dre.
Will it change? I guess so. Yeah, you can't never say what they uncover won't change your point of view. It would definitely change my point of view, even though I'm not a big NCAA type guy. I'm more like pro sports. But I think a lot's gonna come out that we already know that that um, it's a male dominant league, and that they kind of had their way around campus and with the girls on campus who like I've seen it firsthand. I've known guys that just they got women doing a test for them and all that. Like, and I always used to ask myself that question: if you playing a sport like that, how in the world do you have time to study? Like, you're not gonna have time to study. If anything, so you're gonna have to have somebody helping you with your. I mean, we understand we to get tutors and all that, but I know it's deeper than that. I know people cheating on tests for them. I know teachers are marking their presence to class when they're not there. Like, if you got Trey Young sitting in your class, and we know how great Trey Young is right now, he shoots threes in the parking lot. Like, the dude just shooting out a different range. There's no way in the world you're gonna fail him and allow your university to look bad because he couldn't make it to a class, he couldn't pass his test. Like, even if it was like one mark or something. So I believe it's a lot gonna come out. We're gonna see a lot of stuff with sex. We're gonna see a lot of stuff with cheating. We're gonna see a lot of stuff with kids getting paid off because those kids should be getting paid. There's no way in the world that these universities are making billions of dollars off of these student athletes, as they like to call them. It's such BS with the student athlete. I feel like it's probably what about 10% or maybe like 2% that's really a student athlete that's really going to school and is really learning. It's an anomaly when you see a really well educated sports player. Like, they did a story on it on Real Sports because they couldn't believe one of the guys was like really intelligent. And they was like, "Why do you still play football if you're this intelligent?" And I think he plays for the Patriots. I forget his name, but I'm gonna look it up. But we know the student athletes are all focused on their game, and they're just trying to get their family out of the conditions they're in. And it's a small few that don't have to get their families out of the circumstances, but majority of those kids are doing this for the money. So they definitely need to get paid somehow, and that's hard because it's like, how much do you pay certain players? I mean, you're gonna have to figure it out. Like, the better you are, just like the NBA, the more you get paid. But yeah, I can't wait to see what they say and what they tell us. But I know all these major universities, like, I doubt they're gonna allow everything to come out. It's gonna probably be a lot to come out, like the Penn State scandal, something like that. But they're not gonna let everything come out because they would destroy these universities. They would destroy all of them.
Let me say, I don't. This isn't really. I mean, I've always been pro pay to players, so this isn't really going to change my perspective of the players. Like Andre said, I just think this just confirms everybody what everybody thought. You know that college basketball and college football, even though right now we're focusing on college basketball, but college football is just as dirty. Uh, we have we it's focused on college basketball and the fact that there's this elaborate scheme between agents, shoe companies, coaches to pay these players under the table, which I believe that wouldn't be necessary if the NCAA. You're gonna hear this a lot from me, folks. Pay the players. You wouldn't have the FBI investigating saying you broke federal law if the NCAA didn't have this archaic system that and Matt and Drake can back this up. It only the only two major sports in college basketball that are considered amateurs are the basketball and the football players. Baseball players, they can have agents. They don't have to stay in school. Matt knows this. You can be drafted straight out of high school in baseball. You can do the same thing in hockey. Drafted straight out of high school. For some reason, though, oh my goodness, what is it? Come on, guys, help me out. What is it? What is it about these basketball and football players that will cause these people, these majority white people, to just stop them from making money? I can't put my finger on it. What is it? Hmm. What is it? I don't know. Sarcasm. Y'all know what I'm getting at. How is it that you can let baseball and hockey players make money inside with agents, but basketball and football players can't? We all know that these colleges make more money off of football and basketball than any sport they got in college. We all know it. No offense to Matt. I know he played baseball in college, but we all know that the money that would build these new stadiums, what gives everybody their scholarship, is the basketball and the football programs. We know this, right? And whose body is that? You know? No, this doesn't change my perspective of the NCAA. As a matter of fact, I think it's going to confirm what a lot of people don't want to talk about the NCAA. The NCAA has policies that disproportionately affects some people while allowing other people in other sports to flourish. This is just going to confirm the fact that the NCAA wants you to wait instead of making money in the NBA and the NFL. That and even though they're not really focusing on that, they're just focusing on the sneaker companies and the money these coaches give and the agents. But eventually, they'll find out that there's this unwritten wink wink rule. That's why the NFL, you gotta wait until your junior year to enter the draft. That's why the NBA, you gotta wait for the one and done. Even though everybody agrees the one and done rule is stupid and it disproportionately affects college basketball and how good the sport is. But I digress. Is this going to change my perspective on the NCAA? No. It's just going to prove that the NCAA, college basketball, and college football is a lot more dirty and a lot more disproportionate policies than we knew about. Go ahead, Matt. I'm off my controversial soapbox. You go ahead.
All right,
Matt.
here you go. I said this before. I'll say it again. I said it time and time again. I'll say it again now. You are collecting so much. They collecting so much money. NCAA that is right. They collecting so much money that you know why not pay the players? Why not pay them a certain like you hear about players that 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 barely have time for class. This is their way the game, and it should not be. Either you give these student athletes what they need, or you pay them. Now I've watched. If you ever watched Frontline, and the Frontline did a special. John Oliver did a piece on it. I mean, there's a whole lot of other outlets that did investigations, journalistic investigations on the NCAA and those players. And we have to remember, the NCAA is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, which which is crazy in and of itself. So, if since you're a 501c3 organization, from my understanding, you can only make a certain amount of money. You can only make a certain amount before you consider a for-profit company. Now, you have all these sponsors and everything coming in, giving you the money, you know, but the bottom line is, I've said this time, y'all, the NCAA is making money off these players hand over fist. So the question is, and this one right, when do the players get paid? When do the players get compensated? They get compensated on scholarships, you know, smile on Danny, but that's not enough. They're basically working 4 times hours. You have to sign a waiver saying you will not work, you will not make extra income or whatever have you because you are considered a student athlete and basically a property of the school. Basically, you just signed your life away. So and a lot of these coaches, even some coaches, cannot, for whatever reason, help them out because they haven't eaten or they're trying to take care of themselves. They're not able to do so because, well, they're not allowed to have some type of money. It's a problem. I mean, college people are broken. They need money. They make a hustle some way, somehow. But to somebody to say that these student athletes are not allowed to, I don't know, have a side hustle or, make some type of income for themselves, it maybe work even though probably as minute or minuscule as working at McDonald's or something. It's not. It's the whole thing is stupid. The whole thing is just um not cool. So looking at it, the FBI. Wait, look. As far as my perspective on the NCAA is concerned, it opens up the floodgates. I mean, this has been going on for for years, and now the FBI is like knocking on the door. Hello, what's going on here? Right? And like kind of said, the one in Dunmore was stupid. I can understand the I can understand the NFL's reasoning because of a health concern for people who are 18, 19, 20 years old. I get it. I totally get it because it is a more like an insurance. It could be an insurance thing. It could be a liability. The whole host of slew of things. A la Maurice Claret. But I can understand the NFL's reasoning. So you see players come out in their after their sophomore, if not junior years. So I I get it. So I get it. I totally get it. It's it's how can I put this? How can I put this? I get it. But for the NBA, you have to get rid of the one and done rule. You have to get rid of it. And I told the NBA, and I said to the NBA, take the G League and turn it into a full blown minor league system, just like hockey, just like MLB. You turn that G League into a full blown minor league system. I mean, and literally, there's tons of money in it. You won't believe how many other cities, like smaller cities like Shreveport, Louisiana, Grand Rapids, Iowa, and the like, that really want a franchise. That really want a franchise. So what's the problem? What's going on here? But no, we have this one and done rule. NCAA's make a whole heap of money because of it, and you see this. The quality's gotten better in the NCAA, but now you have all these practices that's going on with the coaching and recruiting. So a lot of stuff going on. But I'm gonna get off this here soapbox because we got a long way to go. So there.
All right, Sean. Moving right along to our next one, to our first high profile coach to get caught saying, "Oh, what's up, Troy?
What's up?
What's up, man? Yeah. Before we move on, you can answer this question. All right, dog. Uh, Matt just got through. I just got through. Will this FBI investigation change your perspective on the NCAA?
Yeah.
From the perspective of college basketball. Yeah, we can hear you.
No. It won't. I mean, we all knew this was going on for a while. It's just finally shedding light on it. I don't really think it's going to be a whole bunch of punishment. It's not going to change my perspective. I mean, it is what it is. This is what it's going to continue to be until some major changes are happening. But major changes aren't going to happen because there's too many people in bed with the NCAA as far as companies and TV deals. So they're not going to just like be like, oh well, all these programs that are doing this, they're not going to be in the NCAA because then they're not going to get any views. So it's not going to change. In my opinion, it's not really going to change anything. It definitely won't change my perception of it.
That's good. So moving right along then to our first high-profile coach that was caught on these wiretaps. All right, guys, what do we think? Well, is Sean Miller in trouble for being caught on tape saying, let's give a player $100,000 to come to Arizona? Go ahead, Troy.
He could. I think he could be in trouble. Just because now you're giving out money to kids to come play for you in a sense. Do I think it'll lead to something? Not really. I mean, obviously, if Arizona's sticking with him, now if Arizona didn't stick with him, I think I'd look more into it. But because Arizona is sticking with him, I don't think it'll lead to anything. He may get like a slap on the wrist, but I don't think he's gonna lose his job over it. Unfortunately, I think he should, but I don't think he will.
Matt?
He might lose his job. He might lose his job because, oh boy, because look, we have to pay $100,000. Holy Toledo. Kyle, I have to get back to me in this. Get back to me in this for a little bit. I got something to take care of.
All right, go ahead, Dre.
Yeah, I'm like Terrari. I doubt. I just saw the footage of him doing like a little press conference, basically apologizing for what he said and the negative light he brought on Arizona and all this other crap. We all know he got doing his little song and dance to make it sound good. I doubt he loses his job. Usually, when you make it to that level, you got to do something really horrific to lose your job. You don't just, even if like you was caught on camera saying something like that, like it wasn't. I mean, it's criminal, but they not gonna consider that a serious offense, even though they should, because like, it's basically just saying like this is what we do. But yeah, he's not gonna lose his job. He's not. He's in a little bit of trouble. He's just probably got a good talking to. Like, don't let that happen again. And that's basically it.
I think he's definitely going to lose his job just because he was the first high-profile coach actually caught on a wiretap. Now everybody knows about wiretaps because this whole Donald Trump stuff with Russia and everything, and we've all known about wiretaps before that. But wiretaps are back in the in the national consciousness because of what's been going on with Donald Trump. And now this. When you're caught on wiretap actually saying stuff like that, and let's be real, this is a unique situation at Arizona because usually, much like at Louisville, it's the smaller people, it's the assistant coaches, it's the interns, it's the low level people saying stuff like this. You usually get the low people, not a big fish like Sean Miller. You know, Sean Miller, Arizona has decided to bench Sean Miller from coaching. He didn't coach last week. He probably won't be coaching this weekend either. And the Board of Governors, as we speak, probably I think tomorrow, are going to meet about him. Now, they're not going to fire him yet, but this is just the first meeting of what the plan will be. Because you can't have somebody actually being caught saying that we, like we said, like it's been established earlier, we all agree that they've had this wink, wink, I pay you, you don't say nothing stuff that's been going on. But this is the first guy to actually get caught on wiretaps by the FBI, who wiretapped his phone or whatever phone they wiretapped, have him actually saying it. Now, let's be real. Like we said, this is just the first Goliath that's going to fall in this big investigation. But, you know, he's the first, and everybody knows what happens to the first. You're going to be the scapegoat. Because let's be real, Sean Miller is a small fish. And what we're talking about schools at Kansas, Bill Self. We're talking about Duke in North Carolina, Roy Williams and Coach K. We're talking about a lot more bigger fish than him. You know, he's just the first. He's going to be the first scapegoat. He's definitely losing his job. And the bull, I believe, DeAndre Ayton, I think his name is. He played last week, which I thought was a stupid decision by Arizona, but I just think it's time for you know, he's going to lose his job because, like I said,
he should lose his job.
No, he should. He's going to. Like I said, he's going to lose his job because, like I said, you got to think of the bigger fish that they're after. Sean Miller is just a small fish in comparison to, look at all the schools they've got. They've got Kansas, Bill Self. They've got Duke, Coach K. They've got Michigan State, Tom Izzo. They've got so many more high-profile coaches to go after than him. He's going down just because I can't imagine the situation, no matter what the wiretaps say, that North Carolina, Kansas, Michigan State, or Duke will fire their legendary coaches. Him, no, he's a small fish. He hasn't won no rings. He can lose his job. And Arizona will pay him $86 million for the next 4 years. So it's cheaper to fire him than deal with this PR nightmare. They're going to fire him. Go ahead, man. Finish your thought.
But think about this. What do you do? What do you do with $100,000 for it? Give it to any old body, let alone a 17, 18-year-old kid. For real. Let's start there. Number one. Number two, right?
Well, to be fair, he was number one, number two talent, big man talent in the NBA. I mean, in the college basketball. Go ahead.
And number two, okay. What about the if there is a subpoena, let alone a warrant, let there be one of those two going on, then you got a bigger problem. So, you know, as far as Sean Murray being in trouble, yeah, he's in trouble. It's gonna be. We got the tape, right? So that's a done deal. That's a wrap, as far as I'm concerned. It's a wrap.
All right, then moving right along. Are more big name coaches going down because of this investigation? Go ahead, Troy.
I mean, yeah, if Sean Miller is going to get indicted, I think everybody else is going to go down with him. Just like I think Rick Pitino's going to talk. I don't think he's just going to sit there and bite the bullet alone because it was more than, pretty sure it was more than just him outdoing than what he was doing. So there's going to be more big coaches going down. I don't know necessarily who they're going to target, but there's definitely going to be more big name coaches that's going to be the mix is going to go down for this as well. So it's not going to be Sean Miller and Rick Pitino.
Matt, just right down the line.
You know what? Roy makes a good point. Rick Pitino has got nothing to lose. And by him not being associated in coaching right now, yo, I expect him to literally just start talking because again he ain't got nothing to lose, and I believe you're gonna hear more names come out like Bill Self, Roy Williams, just to name some. You're gonna hear a lot of big name coaches going down because of these practices. You will hear it. Mark my words.
Andre.
Listen, I hope y'all wrong. I hope Rick Pitino don't talk, cause now he gonna create new enemies. Like yesterday, he ain't got nothing to lose. Yes, he do. You start snitching on people, you gonna start getting enemies you ain't never think of. Whoever is like associated with them, supports them, gonna be like, no, no, no. Oh, he gonna do he like that? Oh yeah, we gonna definitely give it to you. But yeah, more coaches are definitely going down because you're not gonna go at the big name coaches and leave the little ones alone. No, you going that's setting the standard. Like, listen, we go after him, we definitely coming after you. So be prepared.
I mean, yeah, he's there will be more big name coaches going down. I mean, who will it be? Like I said, it's anybody's guess, but we know that there's a bunch of big name coaches that are probably sweating right now. We know Tom Izzo specifically, he's on the hot seat because of everything that he's allowed to happen with Michigan State. So I could easily see him be a name just to add more another PR nightmare to the crap Sunday which is going on at Michigan State and everything. I mean, let's be real. All the schools that always get the top talent, just like in football, when they eventually get to college football, I mean, let's be real. There is no way that anybody like the UNCs, the Kansas of the world, sure, they probably get some talent naturally, but these schools that we're talking about, they continually have the top talent all the time. There's no way you keep getting all that top talent without doing something dirty. You know, I like let's be real. This is the NCAA we're talking about, right? Let's be real. There's a lot of dirty stuff going on in both college basketball and college football. And even though when they're not on college football yet, you know it's coming. You know, there should be a lot of high profile coaches sweating right now because there's going to be more. And will Rick Pitino talk? Probably. I mean, like we say, he has nothing to lose. He's already lost everything in Louisville, so lost his title, everything else. So we'll see. We'll see what he decides to do. But just by the fact that if I'm any coach, I'm scared because Sean Miller, the reason they got him is because he was talking on his phone, having a private conversation, not knowing that his phone was wiretapped. You know, there are so many coaches that probably have had that happen to them that I would be really worried if I'm Bill Self, if I'm Tom Izzo, if I'm Roy Williams, if I'm Coach K. Because let's be real, I know everybody has not all of a sudden just now realized that Coach K has had a lot of one and done kids these last 3 to 4 years. How you get that? Duke used to be 4 year people. Now all of a sudden, these last couple of years has been one and dones. Let's be real. I'm not making no aspersions. I'm just saying. You know, the Kentucky, we all know something dirty was going on there. It's Coach Calipari. You know, I mean, for real, like you can just name a program and like, come on, we all have our suspicions. And this is just going to confirm it, like I said. So yeah, to answer the question, there's going to be more big name coaches. Uh, Moving on to our next thing. Are we witnessing the death of the amateur classification of the NCAA? We'll work backwards this time. Go ahead, Dre.
You gotta explain that, Colin. What you mean? Explain that question a little more.
So the NCAA has begun the way of not paying their players by saying they're amateurs, so they don't need to play. I mean, they don't need to be paid. So are we witnessing, based on what we know, at least at Arizona, of them paying the players? Which are we witnessing the death of amateurism in the NCAA, that amateur classification? Go ahead, Andre.
Uh, I don't think so. The death of amateurism. I think I feel like that's their base. So I don't see how they could lose that and still go on.
Well, being an athlete, right, particularly in NCAA, whatever, I don't think there's a death in amateurism, but it needs to be rewritten and redone because look, you got you got like you got to really redefine it and re-examine it because you cannot steal money. You can't steal money from these people like that. You just can't. It's not right. So it has to, the classification of amateur athlete has got to be changed.
Troy?
Um, I agree. It needs to be rewritten. Needs to be changed. I don't know about the depth of it. But I do. I mean, it's. I don't really know how you solve the problem. If you tell athletes you're going to pay you, like, does it differ between what school you go to? If you're in Division 1, Division 2, let's say if you go to Florida A&M, that's Division 1, or if you go to Duke, you still get paid the same. Like, until they figure that out, you're never really going to solve the problem. But they need to rewrite it. But I don't necessarily say call it the death of amateurism. But then if they pay you, are they giving you a full scholarship and are they paying you at the same time? Or are they just paying you and you have to pay your way through school? Because I mean, I know it's off topic, but if it's just me, I would rather just get the scholarship because getting that little bit of money, I mean, yeah, I mean that help's going to help in the short run, but I would rather go to the NBA knowing I don't have no college debt than having to pay off college debt when I could have just had a scholarship. But I mean, that's just me. But to answer your question, they just need to rewrite it. I don't think it's the death of it.
So listen, I believe that it is the death of it because here's the thing: the only reason the NCAA has said that they don't need to pay these players is because they say that they're amateurs, that they don't play this professionally. Which, as Matt and Dre have discussed earlier, they do basically do this professionally because we all look at the NCAA as minor league basketball. For real, that's what it is. Some people, are blessed to leave after 1 year or whatever, and some people, like a Steph Curry, play for 4 years, perfect their skills, and then become very, very good NBA players. It just all depends. But what we're watching is unpaid minor league basketball. That's what we're watching. We're watching a lesser, I wouldn't say lesser promoted, but a less professional G League. When we watch college basketball, that's what it is. And I'm like I said, you're going to hear this a lot during this podcast. Uh, I'm for paying the players. To answer your question, I mean, there is nothing wrong. Like we said, there's a difference between if you working for Apple, Google, or anybody else in comparison to working for some unknown startup that nobody knows about. I mean, let's be real. Some people are paid more for what they do based on the companies they work for, the schools they go to, whatever. That's for them to figure out. But I feel like it is the death of amateurism because we forget that amateurism is the main reason why the NCAA refuses to pay their players because, like we said, they say that they lie and say that they don't do this professionally, but we all know, and Matt can tell us because he's the person that played in college, that this is what you do. This is your job. This is your 9 to 5, your 5 to 11, however long it takes.
Absolutely. And I definitely was gonna say something about that. Say that. How can you consider somebody an amateur? Kyle, mute yourself real quick. How you gonna call somebody yourself an amateur when they're getting up and going to practice, they're watching film, and they're not doing this like one day a week. They're probably doing this 4 or 5 times a week. Like that's a professional. They sacrificing their blood, their sweat, their tears. Some of these kids get, they get injuries, they get hurt just like the pros do. They gotta sacrifice their time. They don't have that much time to like just sit back and chill. They really gotta dedicate themselves to their sport, no matter what sport it is, if it's basketball, football, or baseball. So they are definitely professionals. They should get paid for it because they're not getting. And that crap is it's such a lie when they say free education. How is it free if I'm working for it? I'm working every day for it. Because if I don't perform well, then guess what? My scholarship goes away. If I didn't perform well before I got here, I would have never got that scholarship. So there's no such thing as a free education. I worked for that education. Y'all gave me what I deserve, for real. You making all this money?
So I mean, you just made my point for me. Like, once you kill, if you say the amateur thing needs to be rewritten, as some of you or some people have said, you're making my point for me. Then it's the death of the NCAA because then what we're talking about then, if they say that these players are not amateurs, which we all know they're not, then the players should be able to unionize. So then you get a players union. Then you're talking about my stipend, my whatever should be a split of the revenue that the NCAA makes off of the ESPN, CBS, Fox Sports, all the deals they have. The SEC networks, the ACC networks, all the deals that they have, you gotta give them a percentage of it, right? That's why they don't want to do it. They want to keep the coaches and keep themselves with the money. It shouldn't be that way. That's why if they kill the amateurism, then, like I said, it's what we've always known it to be, minor league basketball, because that's what college basketball is. I know a lot of people are going to listen to this podcast and hate me and say I'm wrong. At Kyler W. Watson, you think I'm wrong, but let's be real. That's what we're watching. We're watching minor league basketball. That is exactly what we're watching. If you kill amateurism, if you say, and this is what I think that the NCAA needs to look at, because if you say that these players are amateurs, why you got coaches then willing to pay these players $100,000 to come and change their program for a year? I mean, let's be real. If they're amateurs, if you're saying that they're not even good enough to make money off of them, why do you have coaches then willing to risk it all, willing to risk jail time to get these players to Arizona, get these players to Duke, get these players to UNC, get these players to Louisville? See, amateurism, the way the NCAA classifies amateurism is wrong in itself. You're not an amateur. We know this. You're not an amateur if you're an athlete in college. You're not. So if you kill amateurism, you're killing the NCAA because then they got to figure out a way to split this money. And then it gets to Teroy's question of how you going to do all that? Well, you allow the players to unionize. Then you base all of this off the deal. So if you're in the ACC, split it up. Make the money. Split that money up. Give them stipends. Do what you got to do. Moving right along, unless somebody got another comment. To number 5. Is this Rick Pitino's fault or the NCAA's? Go ahead, Teroy.
It's the NCAA's. It's not Rick Pitino's fault. The the NCAA, they want to call themselves a business and want to be so much of a dictatorship. They've been know this has been going on. Like I have a hard time believing they don't know none of this is going on. They know this is going on. They don't care. They're making money off of this. They're making money off the kids. They're making money off of all these TV deals. March Madness, they said this on ESPN Radio down here. March Madness is the biggest money, like the biggest money thing that they
It's
have.
bigger than the Super Bowl.
Exactly. It's March Madness. So therefore, they know this is going on. They don't care. They're like, this is NCAA's fault. This isn't Rick Pitino's fault. All Rick Pitino doing was working within what NCAA allowed him until we got caught. If he'd have never got caught, NCAA wouldn't care. But because he got caught, they have to save face. So of course, this is the NCAA's fault all the way. And until they decide that they want to fix it, it ain't gonna happen. Just like everybody, those that is on ESPN Radio, how like they're talking about they're gonna do an internal investigation. They're not gonna do no internal investigation to after March Madness is over with. Because they do an internal investigation before March Madness starts, and they don't bring down no punishment. It's gonna make them look bad. So they're gonna wait to after March Madness so all these players and coaches can play and coach and bring them in the money. So of course it's NCAA's fault. It ain't got nothing to do with Rick Pitino, in my opinion. He was just doing what he was allowed to do until he got caught. That's basically like my mom. That's basically like my parents tell me not to steal, but I steal, and they know until they actually see me steal and I get caught. Then I get punished. I was just doing what they allowed me to do. It's just like that.
Matt?
I gotta agree with him, man. I gotta agree. It's just the NCAA's fault. It's not the coach's fault. The NCAA has been letting this go on since the 70s. We started in football, as far as the money part is concerned. You know, if y'all remember, the first school to ever receive the death penalty was SMU, football team. That football program got smacked with sanctions and everything else, which included the death penalty. It's a 30 for 30 about that. How SMU, Baylor, Texas A&M, and that whole entire conference at that time, was doing this. So that's just, and theoretically, that's a microcosm to what has transpired overall in collegiate sports. So, with that history lesson, the NCAA has not only let it happen, they let it fester and ferment over the years. You can talk about, Sonny, I can't think of his name right now. Sonny V in his basketball tournaments and everything else in the 80s. This is in every. They have let this happen. With the clinics, the tournaments, and they have let this happen. They have literally let this grow and ferment into a machine. We have never seen March Madness be as big as it is right now. I have never seen March Madness so uniform. It's stupid. Honestly, I hate it. I mean, yeah, as far as, the court's the same, everything has to be the same. Versus, you go to this one venue, you know what the venue is, but it has a different vibe. Versus, you go to this one venue, same court. Go to this other venue, same court. And it's just, you start to notice the machine is going on. You might say, well, it looks nice, it looks more uniform, professional. That's the problem. To me, that's the problem there. Because collegiate sports and professionalism should be separate. So the NCAA has put this on themselves to literally They grew this monster themselves, and now it's their fault. And they can pretty much have an internal investigation all they want, but it's going to be the FBI to put into this because you're talking about children here. You're making money off the backs of the children, and that's where I have a problem with it.
I got to agree with Matt and Terroy. It's definitely NCAA fault. How could you blame it on Rick Pitino? Like he was only um, what's the word I'm looking for? He was only subject to the monster. You know, he went into the kingdom. And they said you're gonna either get down or lay down. That's basically what they told him. He just went along with the program. The NCAA has been cultivating this since inception. You know, they wanted to grow. They wanted to grow it, and if you grow anything, you want to grow it monetarily. Like you want to make more money off it. You want more people interested. You want more ratings. You want more butts in the seats. You want bigger stadiums. You want your universities to grow, and you know they got everything that's coming to them. You know, so I don't feel bad for the NCAA, but it's definitely not Rick Pitino's fault.
Before you begin, why should you feel bad for the NCAA? I don't feel bad for the NCAA as an entity. The hell with the NCAA. I mean, they're the ones that help create and let this ferment. Why should you feel bad for an entity that's been literally slaving off the back of children? Child labor. What? I don't want to hear that.
I mean, nobody should feel sorry for the NCAA. I mean, no one should even feel sorry for Rick Pitino. The fact that we have to, that because this question I'm comparing Rick Pitino and NCAA, the fact that somebody's actually feeling sorry for Rick Pitino. I mean, let's be real. I follow Rick Pitino since he was the Celtics coach. He was a jerk then. He's a jerk now. He's a man who got himself ostracized from the NBA. You know, not many people do that when they get themselves ostracized from the NBA, where the only place they have to go is college, and then they mess that up. You know, I only know of a couple of coaches, one named Bobby Petrino, that has done that. You know, and like to make it a sweep. I mean, it truly is the NCAA's fault, like we said. Rick Pitino is just a symptom of a disease system in the way the NCAA works and operates. And so, with the NCAA, I mean, with the FBI is going to fix this. And at the end of the day, when the FBI puts it all out there, leaves the cupboards bare, and the NCAA brings all these coaches to justice or puts their names out there and destroys the reputation that they have or whatever's left of their reputation. That depends on your school affiliation and how you feel about the basketball program involved. I mean, like Teroy, Matt, and Dre said, I mean, the NCAA has leached off of a lot of prominent talent and largely black talent. And for them to do that, for them to be able to do that for this long, is really, really inconceivable. The fact that they've been able to do this so long, and the fact that so many people, I'll just be honest, because I've never bought into this, so many idiots, buy into the fact of, oh, these kids don't need to get paid. And I really want to ask anybody who believes that, have you ever met a college athlete? Like, do you have in college if you went to college?
Me.
Or if you went to high school, right? Have you ever met any college athlete? Have you ever seen what these athletes have to go through? In college, I do a lot of athletes, and I mean Albright was D3, but I knew a lot of them when I was in DC too. So I knew a lot of D1 athletes. And I know that from sun up to sundown, they go from 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m., whatever designated time the coach has, until class time, lifting, running, doing different things. Probably don't even make it to class a lot of times, This is their job. But this is the system the NCAA set up to basically for the schools to make money off of slave labor, you know? And if it wasn't for Ed O'Bannon, I mean, we wouldn't even have the rules and the protections we have on this stuff. And I mean, that's largely because of his lawsuit that we have the things that we have now currently. So, like I said, we've come a long way, but we still have a long way to go. And it definitely is the NCAA's fault, as we've all said. Rick Pitino is just a symptom. All right, guys. So moving right along, do you see this changing college basketball and football forever? I'll start. I do actually, and this may be me being optimistic, and the Eagles Super Bowl win is really taking the pessimism out of me. So, and a little bit, and dialed down my realism a little bit. So I say this with cautious optimism. I really do believe that this is going to change the way they do business in college football, college basketball. Just for the sake, just on the tip of this, there's already a conversation now. People like LeBron James and Kevin Durant have been speaking out about the one and done rule. So I mean, Kevin Durant has said that the one and done rule basically dilutes college basketball and doesn't make the product as good as it needs to be. And I believe that's the truth. I mean, I've said this on this podcast in previous episodes before that the one and done rule dilutes the product. So, I've been on that train for a while. But I now that you have Kevin Durant saying it, now that you have LeBron James, Stan Van Gundy saying the NCAA is a corrupt organization, saying that the NCAA, Stan Van Gundy, the NCAA makes money off of slave labor. Those are his words, Now that you have high-profile people in the NBA saying it, if we can get some high-profile people in the NFL saying it, I really do believe that we can change businesses. Because like we've said before, a lot of these people, the LeBron James and Kevin Durant's, they're thought leaders. They lead in thought. And if they are coming out and saying the NCAA is corrupt, if they're saying the one and done rule dilutes the product, now people like Adam Silver have to pay attention. Well, dang, my two stars are now saying that the one and done rule is corny and is destroying college basketball. I got to pay attention to that now. I got to do something. I got to change it. And I know that there are old basketball stars and stuff that don't want their spots taken by 18-year-olds. That's why we had the one and done rule, because people got tired of LeBron James and the Kevin Garnett's of the world and Dwight Howard's taking their spots and stuff like that. I understand why we have the one and done rule. Yeah, I understand the merits of the one and done rule, but it's time. It's time for it to die. It really does dilute the product, and it's definitely time. Who are the NBA and the NFL? Two organizations that make money off of people's athletic prowess. To say, oh, you got to spend a year in college. You got to spend 3 years. And I know, as Matt said, in the NFL it's for health reasons, but we know the NBA is purely political. We know the NBA, the only reason, like I said, the one and done rule is a thing is because old NBA vets and owners did not want to take the time to develop these people to replace them. And I understand that. That's human. Who would want to train the person that's going to replace them? It's truly understandable. It's truly human. But at the same time, time catches up to us all. And like I said, there should not be a limit on when these kids should be able to make money. If at 18 you're old enough to vote and die for this country, you should be old enough to make as much money as you want on the God-given skill or talent that you have. So yeah, to answer the question, I do believe this will change the way the NCAA does business, and college basketball, college football do business, because like I said, you have high-profile people in the NBA saying something about the one and done rule and saying something about the NCAA. Go ahead, Troy.
I think it'll change it in in basketball. I don't know so much about football. Um, I don't think it'd change anything in football to these coaches get called a football, and I don't think that'll happen. So I do think it could possibly change in basketball. We'll see what happens. Um, I mean, the one and done rule is kind of stupid, but then again, at the same time, I don't want these kids coming out of high school. Like that's not going to work either. So it needs to be like, honestly, I just think they should just make it how it's like in the WNBA, just 3 years, then you could come out. I think that's a fair assessment, but I don't think that ever happened. Um, but I do think it'll change in basketball, but not so much on football.
Let me tell you something. I agree, but I disagree with you, Troy. Here's why. Now, I said it time and time again, and I'll say it again. The National Basketball Association needs to take the G League and turn it into a full-blown minor league system. Okay, yes. You have to remember, the NBA and the Players Association agreed to the one and done rule, which I thought was dumb anyway. What they and you know, I understand the WNBA's point of view as well, but these are grown men. Okay, once you're 18 years of age, you can pretty much work. So there are there's some occupations where you have to be at 21, 20, 21 because of occupational reasons, occupational hazards, and everything else. However, the thing is simply this: the minor league system in baseball was made during, I think, the 40s, thanks to, believe it or not, Branch Rickey. He helped start the minor leagues as we know today. I'll break it down baseball ways. You have Ricky ball. You have instructional ball, Ricky ball, golf course ball. That's all single A. And then you go to another Class A team when you're still single A. I'll use the Phillies for example. Lakewood Blue Claws. That's another type of A ball because before that you have the Clearwater Threshers. That's Ricky ball. Go Ricky ball to regular A ball, then you go to double A, then you go to triple A, then you in the show 4A, Major League Baseball. The thing is, it'll change business, but it could change it for the better, or they could change it for the worse. As far as college sports is concerned, you know full darn well you're gonna collect all this money. You better invest it into your colleges that needs the money versus big palatial homes. I'm looking at you, Michigan. Looking at you, Penn State.
Oh, you already know they're investing the money in new stadiums. Look at Temple.
I know. That's why I say it. But look, I think the NBA is missing something here, and they need to grow, and they need to grow, revamp the G League, and you have 30 NBA teams. There's no reason why you should expand the G League and turn the sucker to a full-blown minor league system, and then have rules to where so you can call up and send down players. I mean, in MLB, there's rules for that. There's options, and I can get in that later, but there's ways around it. So remember, this was the Players Association and the NBA signed off on this one. However, it's going to change the way things is done business wise. Not forever, but it's the view of it. The view has to change.
Andre?
I agree with you, Matt. To where I disagree with you. They shouldn't have to go to college where we see just players being taken advantage of. I understand you don't want them to go straight to the league from high school because you know, giving a 17-year-old that kind of responsibility is kind of irresponsible because we know. I don't care how old you are. I don't know how old you are. Well, yeah, it is about the age because usually people at their age eventually, even if they're mature for the age, like because like you get told all your life that 17-year-olds are like this, 20-year-olds are like this, and then your friends are hanging over here and doing that. You want to be a part of the crowd. You don't want to be left out. You don't want to be 17 acting like you 40. So then when you 40, you acting like you 17. You missed out on great opportunities that everybody was expecting you to do or do when you were that age. I'm like, Matt, they should develop the D League to be a blockbuster, and not. Of course, you can't make as much money as the NBA because then they take over the NBA. But you should pay them something in the D League. Like, say, listen, you don't have to go to college. Like for all those players that just want to go straight to the league, all right, do 1 year in the D League. Imagine how big the D League would be. Like people will be paying. They'd be paying to go to see a D League game. Like they're like, man, I can't wait. They're like Trey Young out here. He out here dropping threes like crazy. All the big name players. Imagine like Kobe was in there. Like the next Kobe was in there. Or I shouldn't say next Kobe because there would never be another Kobe or another AI. But just players of that caliber. So they definitely should give them an avenue to where they don't have to go overseas because nobody wants to go overseas to play. Like you want to be close to your fan, but then it's a plus to going overseas too. Because I know a player, but Marcus Green, he loves the fact that he's overseas because he loves the fact that people are not over here begging him, asking for money and all that type of stuff because he's over, like he's far away. Because when you at home, everybody know where you at. They know your phone number. They know you. Even if they can't get to you, they'll get to your family quicker. And you can't hide everybody, so they gonna be out. So the message gonna get back to you. But I do see a change in college basketball and college football for good. It's definitely gonna change it. But it needs to be changed. Like everything needs to be changed eventually. Nothing needs to stay the same, especially if it's not benefiting those who play the hardest and do the most. Them coaches do some work, but they get paid well for it. The players are getting nothing. And what's a small percentage of them that even make it to the league? No, you got to give me something, cuz. Don't tell me you give me a free education, because I'm not even taking these classes. The shorty next to me, she taking the class. I'm not taking it.
All right. Well, moving right along, and this is a simple yes or no answer. Do we think they will pay the players? As I said, I'm pro pay the players, but if you're asking me realistically, right now, I don't think the NCAA will pay the players unless they have a gun pointed to their head. And in this case, they literally do have a gun pointed to their head in the FBI, but I don't think they're going to pay the players right away. Go ahead, Troy.
No, I don't think it's gonna happen.
Do you really think the NCAA, the National Collegiate Athletic Association, is going to pay these players now? Oh, hell no. What kind of question is this? You know they're going to keep all the money they can. So right now, they ain't going to pay nobody. What kind of question is this?
You got a better chance at Trump choosing a Democrat to be part of his cabinet than the NCAA paying these players. That's not going to happen.
All right, guys. Do we really think this FBI investigation will cost Kansas, Duke, UNC, Michigan State, or any other big name program a spot in March Madness? Let me answer this. Nope. No, because no one will watch. Let's be real. I love basketball, especially college basketball. But nobody will watch March Madness if UNC, Duke, Kansas, and Michigan State weren't in it. Let's be real. Go ahead, Troy. To answer the question, no, it's not going to cost them a spot. Go ahead, Troy.
Yeah, it's not gonna cost them a spot. Not even close. Not even close. It's not gonna cost them a spot. All these teams are gonna be right in there playing. Like I said, they won't even do the investigations after March Madness. It's not gonna cost them a spot.
Matt?
Ain't gonna cost nobody a thing. Not right now. I mean, no one is under investigation. No one's being looked at. The FBI is not knocking at their door. So the answer is no. It's never cost a darn thing. Not yet, anyway. But you know they're gonna cover their assets. But no, it's not gonna cost them anything right now. No.
No, it's not gonna cost them a spot. Like, listen, what they gonna do? Let CCP get in the NCAA March Madness? They gonna let Brown University play? No, that's not gonna happen because they're gonna keep them big name schools they built up over these years and these gyms and these stadiums. I mean, if you go to these big name schools, you be walking around like, my God, y'all really into these sports, man. Like it's state of the art. It's the best you can ever see. It's probably one of the best gyms you'll ever visit. Sometimes even better than the NFL program.
All right, guys. Here's a deep one for you. Will any other program suffer like Louisville suffered? I'll start. Yes. If any program, now obviously Louisville's in a unique position that they have a coach who, like I said, is very unlikable professionally, and doesn't really have many friends to begin with. And they won a championship. Not many schools can say that they've recently won a championship outside of UNC and Villanova. And I mean, the schools that we're talking about that recently won a title that are actually in danger of anything currently is UNC. And I mean, that all depends on what Roy Williams and his staff were doing. But I mean, Louisville, let's be real, because of who they had as their coach, they were always doomed to suffer. And everything else just depends on what the program we're doing. Now, I believe that just if I'm looking at Sean Miller and what they caught him doing, he's going to be vacating some wins, and he's one of the top coaches in wins. So yeah, I do believe that you will have a lot of coaches and a lot of schools that you've never heard of that will become like the winningest college basketball program once this FBI investigation is done and it unearths everything that it should unearth. I definitely do believe that there will be a lot of schools vacating wins, championship banners coming down. Now, if you're asking me, do I think the NCAA's policy of, and this is off topic, vacating wins and taking away championships is a good idea? No, I believe it's the dumbest idea you can do, but this is the policy and this is what we have. But I don't believe that any win should be stripped. I believe if it's the individual's fault, like if it's the coach's fault. I said this about Penn State. I didn't believe Joe Paterno should have lost all his wins, and Penn State should have suffered as badly as they did because of what individuals did. I believe you punish the individual, not the program as a whole. But, we don't live it. The NCAA doesn't go by, human logic. So, it is what it is. But to answer the question, yes, there will be a lot more programs suffering and a lot more banners coming down and a lot more coaches losing wins. Go ahead, Troy.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. There's going to be a lot more banners coming down. A lot more coaches getting hit hard. Louisville was just the tip of the iceberg. I think NCAA is going to try to save face and, do what they normally do. Take away wins, take away championships, when in reality they need to look at themselves in the mirror and try to come to a conclusion to fix the problem. But since that's not going to happen, they're going to take it out on the program. So Louisville is the only program that's about to get hit hard with this.
What does taking away wins and taking away this and taking away that going to do for you? What? Nothing. I agree with Troy on this one. in the National Collegiate Athletic Association needs to look in themselves in the mirror and realize what the hell they have just done here. So, no, I mean, taking away wins ain't gonna do anything for anyone. Taking away victories ain't gonna do anything for anybody. It's one of those, hey, look at us. Look, the whole governing body as a whole has to look deep inside themselves and look at the hell that they have created to take away these wins from student athletes that they put in the work for, that they worked hard and everything else. It's not the player's fault. It's the program's fault. So to answer your question, will any other program suffer like Louisville? There are going to be other programs that will suffer like Louisville. However, to take away wins is, I think, the last thing you should do. And instead, you should look at yourselves in the mirror and look at what have you done to create this monster and what you must do in order to rectify and right the situation. Oh wait, you're not going to because why? There's money involved. Lots of money involved. Oh my gosh, you must have the money. So no, then taking away wins ain't gonna do nothing for anyone. It really is not. But programs will pay. But taking away wins is not the way to go.
I disagree, man. I disagree. I think you definitely should take away wins. I'm sure you would agree, man. I think you're being a little hypocritical with this because wouldn't you agree? Take away the wins from New England Patriots for all the cheating they did. Like they didn't win on good merit. They didn't win just by their skill alone. They won by having an advantage. By
Look, I gotta
playing
stop you
balls.
there. I gotta stop you there. I gotta stop you there. Look, I'll admit it. As an Eagles fan, that hurts. Okay. However, looking at hindsight 2020, they won fair and square. Even looking at the game, the Eagles gave away the game anyway. But carry on.
No, they didn't win. They had an advantage, man. You don't win fair and square if you got an advantage over me. If you know what plays I'm gonna run, and you know my schemes and all that, that's not a fair that's not a fair playing field. If the ball's deflated so you can catch it easier, that's not a fair playing field. Like your balls are one way and my balls are a different way. That's not the same playing field. And when players are like, "Yeah, what the hell's with this football?" Like that's not. I think taking away wins is a good start. I don't think that's the end all be all. I think other programs will suffer, like Louisville will suffer, because it's just like a snowball effect. We just starting here, and it's about to build. Because other programs are going to talk, other players are going to say stuff, other coaches are going to say stuff, and like I was talking earlier, like you don't want to do that because you create new enemies. But unfortunately, there's no honor amongst thieves. And these guys stole these wins. They stole these players by doing dirty stuff, like Colin alluded to earlier. That you can't have a top A program without doing dirty stuff. There's no way in the world you build your roster to be this ultimate, like this Space Jam team, without doing underhanded things that other programs aren't doing, or they can't afford to do. They don't have the alumni power. Because if you've seen the movie Blue Chips, we know how strong the alumni power is. The alumni own these corporations, or they own these businesses where they can get the kids cars, they can get the mom a house, they can set the family up, they can set the kid up, give him some money. So it's definitely going to happen in other programs.
Matt, you want to respond? No. Okay. Uh, just let me end by saying this. Pride becomes, we know the old adage, pride comes before a fall. In this case, the FBI wouldn't be involved, and this will be the final thought, and then we'll get on out of here because we do have one more day of all of our work weeks, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it. I believe that we all believe that pride comes before. We all believe the old adage, pride comes before a fall. So in this case, it's the NCAA's pride that has set them up for this. You know, they probably believed that they were untouchable. They're a reactionary organization anyway, but they probably thought they were untouchable. And now the FBI is here to do what the FBI does, prove to people that they're not untouchable, you know? And the NCAA is going to be in a position where, like we said, even though I don't agree with it, where they're going to be taking away a lot of wins and a lot of banners and having a lot of high-profile coaches' cupboards laid bare because of their pride and their addiction to amateurism, even though we know it's not true amateurism, you know? And that's what's going to be. So watch.
And just to reiterate, nobody's above it. Everybody, they say what 5% of every profession, nobody skates clean. 5% of every profession has bad people in it. So the FBI has bad people in the FBI. You know, they've had scandals and stuff. So we're not just picking on the NCAA, but they're the topic of the choice right now. Like they're the hot thing in the news right now. So we just call it how we see it.
Now listen, the NCAA been dirty for a long time. They've been dirty almost as long as our current occupant of the White House been saying about politics. At Colin W. Watson, you want to debate that. We are fortunately at our times in for this NCAA focused podcast. But like we said, check out everybody in here, I believe, should be a part of the regular podcast on Saturday at 1:00. So check that out. I really do want to thank Teroy, Matt, and Andre for coming out and on a Thursday night of all places, sticking to my random schedule of when I want to do different podcasts on different things that are in the news. Like I said, look forward to this. I don't know if we're going to do a March Madness one, but we'll definitely start doing more frequent stuff with what's going on in the sports world. So look forward to a March Madness one, probably a national championship one. But yeah, well, like I said, I want to thank everybody for coming out. Make sure you check everybody out. Matt's Twitter handle is at Small Red Horn. Mine is at Colin W. Watson. Don't know Teroy's and don't know Dre's.
It's underscore Andre ANDRE Terry. So just hit me up on Twitter if you want to help.
All right, and Teroy, if you want to throw it in before we go ahead.
Yeah, I don't even remember my Twitter because I don't use it, so I know that's horrible. I think the last time I used it was maybe 4 years ago. So I don't remember it. I don't really feel like looking it up. Y'all can just find me on Facebook. It's not that hard. Teroy Jackson. TAROY last name Jackson.
Alright. So make sure y'all check out the content. You can find my content, Teroy's content on watsonsportstakes.com. You can also find more content from me on wildfiresports.com and flurrysports.org. You know, got to keep the content flowing, sports writer and all that stuff. But like we said, thank you all. Check us out on this channel. I believe other people have YouTube channels as well on here. I just don't remember, but we'll definitely be plugging the content because we all have various interests and everything. But like I said, thank you all for coming. Again, thank you, Dre. Thank you, Teroy. Thank you, Matt. All y'all have a great rest of the night. We hope that you left this podcast and will leave this podcast more informed than you came in with. So thank you all for listening to our unique opinions. Have a great rest of the night and enjoy your Friday. Deuces.